Have you ever stared at your bank account balance, feeling that sinking sensation in your stomach, wondering if those numbers will ever change? What if I told you those digits aren't your financial truth, but merely shadows cast by your old beliefs? Would you believe me if I said the power to transform those numbers lies not in your wallet, but in your imagination? Stay with me as we explore one of the most profound secrets to financial abundance. A secret that Florence Scovel Shinn discovered decades ago, and that continues to transform lives today. This isn't about wishful thinking or getting lucky. It's about understanding the immutable law that governs our reality. Imagination creates reality. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You check your account, see a disappointing balance, and immediately feel a wave of anxiety wash over you. That feeling becomes a thought, "I'm always broke," which becomes a silent declaration that shapes your future experiences. What you're about to discover might surprise you. Those very moments of financial worry are actually programming your financial future. The numbers in your account aren't fixed reality. They're simply the manifestation of past assumptions that have crystallized into your current experience. They're the harvest of seeds you've planted with every worried thought, every fearful declaration, every time you've unconsciously affirmed, "I don't have enough." But what if you could plant different seeds? What if, instead of accepting those numbers as truth, you began to act as if your account was already full? This isn't about pretending or deceiving yourself. It's about understanding the deeper principle that when you assume the state of already having wealth, you must receive it. The most powerful creative force in your life isn't your job, your education, or even your connections. It's your imagination. When you dare to walk in the end, when you spend from imagination rather than fear, the outer world has no choice but to conform to your inner vision. This is law, not chance. This is principle, not wishful thinking. Tonight, I'm going to show you how to dwell in the end until it feels natural, how to speak the creative word with feeling, how to silence the voice of lack, and how to let your bank account itself testify that imagination creates reality. What if I told you that right now, in this very moment, you could begin to change your financial future simply by changing what you're declaring in the quiet of your own mind? What if the path to abundance isn't about chasing money, but about claiming a new identity? Ready to transform your relationship with wealth? Subscribe now and join thousands who are discovering their power to manifest abundance through these timeless principles. The profound revelation here is that we've been looking at our financial life backward all this time. Most people believe that their bank account is the cause of their financial condition. "I can't afford this because my account says so," they declare. But this is the hidden truth that triggers a complete mindset reversal. Your bank balance is not the cause of your financial situation, it's the effect. Every time you check your balance with fear in your chest, every time you feel that knot of worry when a bill arrives, you're witnessing not your financial reality, but the harvest of seeds you've planted in the past. The secret feeling of "I am broke" is not a response to your circumstances. It's the very seed that created them. This journey of transformation begins when you understand that the speech you carry within, when no one is listening, shapes your outer world. Your inner conversation about money isn't just commentary on your situation. It's the blueprint from which your situation is built. When you mutter, "I never have enough," or sigh, "I can't afford it," you're not describing your reality. You're creating it. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing the most powerful technique for financial abundance: living from the end. This isn't positive thinking or wishful daydreaming. This is a fundamental shift in consciousness that alters the very fabric of your experience. Living from the end means to act as though your desired wealth is already here. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. Most people live in perpetual anticipation, always reaching toward a future that forever remains just beyond their grasp. They say, "When I have more money, then I'll feel secure." But the revelation that changed everything for me was understanding that this approach keeps wealth always at a distance. The decision to live from the end means you no longer place your desired state in the future. Instead, you occupy it now in your imagination. You speak, think, and feel as if your account is already full. You move through your day with the quiet confidence of someone who knows they are abundantly supplied. The strain of hoping and wishing is replaced by the naturalness of simply being. This is where most seekers stumble in their financial journey. They believe they must strain and struggle to manifest abundance. They repeat affirmations with clenched fists and furrowed brows, betraying the very lack they're trying to overcome. But true manifestation comes not from strain, but from rest. The profound inner knowing that what you seek is already yours. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle is this simple truth. When you dare to live as if the end were already accomplished, when you claim the feeling of wealth before a single digit changes in your account, you set in motion forces that must bring your outer world into alignment with your inner conviction. What word would describe your relationship with money right now? Drop shadow in the comments if you've realized these numbers are just reflections of past beliefs, or creator if you're ready to step into your power as the author of your financial story. Let me share a revelation that completely transformed my understanding of wealth. When you open your banking app or stare at that slip of paper from the ATM, what do you think you're seeing? Most people believe they're looking at cold, hard facts, immutable numbers that define their financial reality. But here's the paradigm shift that changes everything. Those numbers aren't truth at all. What you're actually seeing is imagination that has already crystallized into form, yesterday's thoughts made visible. Every digit in your account balance represents a harvest of seeds you planted in your consciousness days, weeks, or months ago. Your financial statements are essentially a printout of your past. Mental activity. This insight isn't just philosophical, it's practical. Once you truly grasp that these numbers have no permanence, that they're simply imagination already hardened into form, you realize they can change as quickly as your consciousness can shift. The journey to financial abundance begins with this fundamental revelation. The current balance is not the final verdict on your financial life. It's merely a snapshot of where your thoughts have been. Think of it like a movie, projected onto a screen. If the picture showing is dark or unsatisfying, would you climb up to the screen with paint and brushes, trying to fix the image directly? Of course not. You'd address the source, the projector itself. Yet this is precisely what most people do with money. They labor over the numbers, worrying, fretting, scheming, never realizing that the real story is being written within their own consciousness. The outer world of financial statements, bills, and bank balances is nothing but a shadow cast by your inner world. And here's the crucial insight about shadows. They have no life of their own. They cannot resist the light that casts them. They must move when the light moves. This understanding releases you from the prison of appearances. Every time you've checked your account with anxiety, you've been treating the shadow as if it were the substance. You've been giving authority to what has no power. The true cause, the real engine of your financial life, is within your consciousness. Change the inner and the outer must follow. This is law, not theory. Florence Scovel Shinn understood this principle perfectly when she wrote, "Your word is your wand." What you declare in the secret chamber of your mind becomes the blueprint for your external experience. The financial statements that have seemed so intimidating are actually the most obedient servants. They have no choice but to reflect what you impress upon your subconscious mind. What would change in your life if you started treating your financial statements not as intimidating masters, but as faithful mirrors? Share reflection in the comments if you're beginning to see how your financial reality mirrors your inner world, or projection if you recognize how your thoughts are being projected onto the screen of life. Now we arrive at the cornerstone principle that transforms this knowledge from interesting theory into life-changing practice. The inner state produces the outer fact, never the reverse. This revelation completely inverts the way most people approach their financial lives. The conventional wisdom tells us that we must see evidence first, then we can believe. Show me the money, then I'll feel wealthy. But this approach has the sequence backward, and it's precisely why so many remain trapped in cycles of lack. The breakthrough occurs when you dare to reverse this order, when you have the audacity to say, "I am wealthy," before a single digit changes in your account. This isn't about positive thinking or wishful fantasy. This is about understanding the immutable sequence of creation. Your inner state, your assumptions about yourself, and your relationship with money is the blueprint that the outer world must follow. The external evidence doesn't create your inner state. Your inner state creates the external evidence. When you declare, "I am wealthy," with the feeling of absolute certainty, you're not making a hopeful statement about the future. You're establishing a present reality and consciousness that must, by law, be made visible in your experience. The digits in your account have no choice but to eventually mirror your decree. Let me share a personal journey that demonstrates this principle in action. Florence Scovel Shinn once described how she longed to visit her family in Barbados. By all outward appearances, the trip was impossible. She had no money for a ticket, and every logical calculation said it couldn't happen. But instead of accepting these facts, she made a profound decision. Every night before falling asleep, she would imagine herself already in Barbados. She felt the warmth of the island air on her skin. She heard the familiar voices of her loved ones. She experienced the joy of reunion. She wasn't hoping to go to Barbados. In her imagination, she was already there. Don't miss another revelation that could change your financial future. Hit subscribe and become part of a community that's rewriting the rules of prosperity. While the streets of New York were cold around her physical body, her consciousness was bathed in tropical warmth. She persisted in this inner assumption, refusing to be swayed by appearances. And what happened? Through a series of what many would call coincidences, the opportunity presented itself. Arrangements were made, and she sailed to Barbados without paying a cent. This wasn't luck or coincidence. It was the perfect demonstration of the law. The inner assumption created the outer reality. Her physical journey was merely the shadow catching up to what had already been established in consciousness. The revelation here transcends mere financial technique. It's about reclaiming your creative power. Most people live at the mercy of circumstances, reacting to what appears before them. But when you understand that circumstances are the effect, not the cause, you step into your rightful position as the author of your experience. Have you experienced a moment when something you deeply assumed in consciousness manifested in your experience, seemingly against all odds? Type "creator" in the comments if you've witnessed the power of your assumptions shaping your reality. What if I told you that the most important financial institution in your life isn't on Wall Street or Main Street? The revelation that transformed my relationship with abundance is this: the real bank, the only bank that truly matters, exists within you. This inner bank operates 24/7, processing transactions that shape your financial destiny with more precision and power than any physical institution ever could. Every assumption you accept becomes a deposit in this inner bank. Every declaration of "I am" becomes either a withdrawal or a credit to your account. When you wake up and unconsciously think, "Another day of struggle," you've just made a substantial withdrawal. When you look at a price tag and automatically assume, "I can't afford this," you've just decreased your inner balance. The transformative insight is recognizing that your consciousness is not merely observing your financial reality, it's creating it through these invisible transactions. Your inner speech, those silent conversations you have with yourself throughout the day, represents the most powerful currency exchange in existence. It's where poverty or prosperity is first minted before it ever appears in your visible experience. Think about how faithfully you've kept accounts of lack. Each time you've opened your mouth and said, "I'm broke," you've written a line in the ledger. Each time you've sighed, "I can't afford it," you've stamped the record again. Each time you've muttered, "It's always the same for me," you've deposited poverty into your inner account. And then when you checked your outer balance, the numbers only confirmed what you had already declared. You thought the bank was telling you the truth. No, my friend. The bank was only echoing you. It was the mirror, not the master. This revelation holds within it the seed of your financial revolution. Just as you have unconsciously filled your account with lack, you can consciously flood it with wealth. Begin to deposit new assumptions. Say with conviction, "I am wealthy, I am supplied, I am abundantly provided for." Each time you say it and feel it, you're writing a new entry in the inner ledger. At first, the outer balance may lag because it is only the shadow, but persist, and the shadow will catch up with the light. Persist, and the outer must obey the inner, for the world has no choice but to reflect the content of consciousness. The journey of transformation begins when you recognize that these inner transactions are not merely positive thinking. They're the fundamental mechanism by which your financial reality is structured. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle is this hidden truth. Consciousness precedes manifestation. The inner declaration always precedes the outer demonstration. What declaration have you been making in your inner bank? Type deposits in the comments if you're ready to make new assumptions that will transform your financial reality. The revelation that changes everything is this. Just as you have unconsciously filled your account with lack through negative assumptions, you now have the power to consciously flood it with wealth. This isn't about wishful thinking. It's about understanding the mechanism by which reality forms around your dominant beliefs. Begin today to deposit new assumptions into your inner bank. Say with genuine conviction, "I am wealthy, I am supplied, I am abundantly provided for." Each time you make these declarations with feeling, you're writing a new entry in your inner ledger. You're establishing a new pattern in consciousness that must eventually express itself in your visible experience. This isn't magic. It's the operation of universal law. The key insight that transforms this from mere technique into genuine transformation is understanding that these declarations aren't hopes for the future. They're recognition of a present reality in consciousness. Most people approach affirmations as if they're speaking to a distant future. One day, I'll be wealthy. But the revolutionary practice is to speak in the present tense, claiming the state now, "I am wealthy." This subtle shift changes everything because it moves you from wishing to knowing, from hoping to claiming. The universe doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you are in consciousness. Every I am statement is a chisel that sculpts your experience. The spiritual technology at work here is profound yet simple. Consciousness precedes manifestation. The inner always creates the outer. What makes this revelation so profound is recognizing that the world around you has no choice but to reflect the content of your consciousness. This isn't wishful thinking. It's an immutable principle of creation. What you assume to be real in consciousness will inevitably harden into fact in your experience. The outer world isn't causing your financial condition. It's confirming what you've already established within. Think of consciousness as the projector and your life experience as the screen. The images on the screen have no power to change themselves. Only by changing the film in the projector, your assumptions about yourself and your relationship with abundance, can you change what appears before you. This understanding liberates you from the prison of circumstances. You're no longer at the mercy of external conditions because you recognize them as effects, not causes. The journey of transformation begins when you shift your focus from trying to manipulate conditions to embodying new states of consciousness. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is this hidden principle. What you persistently assume about yourself in the secret chamber of your mind must eventually clothe itself in physical form. Your inner conversations about money aren't just reflections of your reality, they're the architects of it. Do you recognize how your current financial situation reflects what you've been assuming about yourself? Type reflection in the comments if you can see how your outer world mirrors your inner assumptions. Let me share a profound insight that completely reframes how we understand financial forecasting. If you want to know the future of your bank account, you don't need to watch CNBC, follow market trends, or analyze economic indicators. The most accurate predictor of your financial future is much closer to home. It's the ongoing conversation in your own mind. Your inner speech is the true forecaster of your financial destiny. That silent narrator who accompanies you throughout the day is recording every word, every assumption, every declaration about your financial identity. And unlike external forecasts that frequently miss the mark, this internal recording creates the very faith. True faith isn't waiting for facts to change before you change your consciousness. Faith is declaring the unseen as the real and treating the seen as shadow. When Scripture says faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, it's revealing this exact principle. Faith doesn't deny the existence of current appearances, but it denies their authority to determine who you are. Think of your life like a movie screen. The pictures flash before you, dramatic, colorful, convincing. Yet you know they're only projections, nothing more. The real is in the projector behind you, your consciousness. To change what appears on the screen, you don't scratch at the images, you change the film in the projector. When you look at your account balance, you can acknowledge it while simultaneously declaring, "You are yesterday's harvest, not today's truth." You see the bill? Yes, but you say, "You are shadow. The real is my supply within." This isn't denial. It's a profound recognition of the creative order. You're not closing your eyes to the world, but refusing to let it dictate your identity. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing how the journey unfolds when you dare to hold steady in your assumption despite appearances. When you maintain your declaration of wealth, even as the outer world temporarily denies it, something remarkable begins to happen. Life itself begins to guide you through a subtle inner compass. You may think you're choosing by accident, that you're stumbling through chance. But every act, every meeting, every so-called coincidence is being drawn into harmony with your assumption. The bridge of incidence is not a straight path your conscious mind could design. It's a living current carrying you from where you stand to where you've already arrived in imagination. Many ask, if I assume wealth, must I take special actions? Must I create elaborate strategies? And the answer is no. The action you take will flow naturally from the state you occupy. A person who feels themselves wealthy will not act from desperation. Their choices, their tone, their confidence will be different. And the world, responding to that inner shift, will present opportunities that no amount of frantic planning could produce. Your task is not to plot the bridge, but to walk it as it appears, step by step, trusting that the unseen hand of your own imagination is guiding the way. As you follow this inner compass, you'll find that each step leads perfectly to the next, revealing a pattern too vast for the surface mind to design, yet too precise to be mere chance. Have you ever experienced a moment when you followed an unexpected impulse that led to a wonderful opportunity? Type compass in the comments if you felt the guidance of this inner knowing directing your path in ways your logical mind couldn't have planned. Let me share with you one of the most beautiful discoveries on the manifestation journey. It's only when you stand in the fulfillment of your desire that the bridge of incidence shines in its full perfection. While you're crossing this bridge, while you're in the midst of the unfolding, the steps often seem random, perhaps even counterproductive. The delay feels unbearable. The obstacles appear insurmountable. You wonder, why must I endure this setback? Why did that opportunity fall through? Why did that door close just when I thought it was opening? In the moment, the path can feel chaotic, even cruel. But when at last you arrive, when your account is full, when wealth flows to you with ease, you look back and suddenly see that every step was necessary, every detour was perfect, every delay was actually divine timing. This revelation transforms how we perceive our journey. It's like watching a master weaver at work. From beneath the loom, you see only tangled threads and chaotic patterns. But when you finally view the completed tapestry from above, you recognize the perfect artistry that was unfolding all along. What appeared as chaos reveals itself as divine order. I remember counseling a woman who desperately wanted financial freedom. After assuming this state in her imagination, her path seemed to lead her further from her goal. She lost her job, had to relocate, and faced months of uncertainty. She came to me in tears, questioning everything. But I encouraged her to persist in her assumption, despite appearances. Within a year, she had established her own business that far exceeded her previous income. Looking back, she could see how each apparent setback had been a crucial step toward her greater good. The job loss freed her from a limiting environment. The relocation placed her in a community that supported her vision. The uncertainty developed her resilience. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing the most reliable sign that your manifestation is approaching: naturalness. In the beginning of your journey, when you first declare, "I am wealthy," it feels like fantasy. The words taste foreign on your tongue. There's a gap between what you're declaring and what feels authentic. You're essentially trying on a new identity, and like new clothes, it feels stiff and unfamiliar. But as you persist in your assumption, something subtle yet profound begins to shift. What once felt like make-believe gradually begins to feel possible. What felt like fantasy begins to feel familiar. And then comes the sacred moment, the turning point in your manifestation journey, when your new state feels so natural that you forget you ever doubted it. When "I am wealthy" feels as obvious and unquestioned as your own name, that's the unmistakable sign that the outer manifestation is near. This transition from effort to naturalness is the most reliable indicator of your progress. It's not measured by external evidence, but by this inner shift in consciousness. The state of wealth no longer feels like something you're reaching for. It feels like something you already are. This naturalness is the subconscious mind's signal that it has accepted your new assumption as reality. Have you experienced that shift from straining to believe something to it feeling completely natural? Type "effortless" in the comments. If you've noticed how manifestation becomes inevitable once a state feels natural to you rather than something you're forcing. Let me share a subtle but critical distinction that many miss in their manifestation journey. There's a widespread misconception that successful manifestation should feel exciting, that you should experience constant thrills, emotional highs, and bursts of enthusiasm when you think about your desires. Many seekers become discouraged when their initial excitement fades, believing they've lost faith or connection with their intention. But here's the revelation that transformed my understanding. Many mistake excitement for faith. True naturalness, the state that actually manifests your desires, is quieter and steadier than most expect. It's not the roller coaster of emotions, but the calm harbor of certainty. It's not the fireworks of enthusiasm, but the quiet flame of knowing. Think about how you relate to things you already possess. Does a person with money in their account leap with joy every morning when they check their balance? No, they take it for granted. It simply feels natural. They don't pace the floor in ecstasy because the bank confirms what they already know. They simply rest in the fact of their abundance. I remember counseling a woman who came to me concerned about her manifestation practice. She said, "I don't feel that rush of excitement anymore when I affirm my wealth. I used to get goosebumps, but now it just feels normal. Have I lost my connection?" I asked her, "Do you feel at peace when you say the words?" She answered, "Yes, it feels ordinary now, almost too ordinary." I smiled and replied, "There's your proof. You're no longer chasing a thrill because you've accepted it as fact. It has become natural." This calm certainty is the true signature of manifestation. When wealth feels as natural as breathing, as undramatic as putting on your shoes, that's when you know the subconscious has accepted it. That's when the outer world must begin to reflect your inner state. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing perhaps the most profound shift in the manifestation process. The moment when your desire transforms from something you reach for to something you recall. At first, financial abundance feels distant, something you long for, something just beyond your grasp. You affirm, you imagine, you declare, "I am wealthy," but deep within, you know you're trying to climb into it. But persist, and a subtle transformation begins. The declaration ceases to feel like effort. The scene you replay in imagination ceases to feel like fantasy. One day, you'll notice that it feels like memory. The wealth you desire no longer feels like something to come, but like something already experienced. This shift from longing to remembering is the surest proof that your assumption has taken root. It's similar to how we relate to our past experiences. You don't strain to believe you went to high school or took that vacation last year. You simply remember it. There's an ease, a certainty that requires no effort. When your financial abundance takes on this same quality, when it feels like something you're recalling rather than something you're pursuing, that's when manifestation is imminent. Have you noticed moments where something you once desperately wanted now feels like it's simply part of who you are? Type memory in the comments if you recognize this profound shift from reaching towards something to simply remembering it as already yours. Now we arrive at a revelation so profound that it completely transcends the realm of financial manifestation. While we've been exploring how to create wealth in your life, there comes a point in this journey where you realize that the dollars and cents were never actually the true treasure. The pearl of great price, the real fortune you've been seeking all along, isn't found in your bank account, but in the discovery of the power of I am. Every time you've declared, "I am wealthy," or "I am supplied," you've been using the most sacred name in existence, the creative principle of the universe itself. And the journey of financial manifestation has simply been the outer path leading you to this inner awakening. The revelation that transformed my entire understanding is this: every I am statement you've ever uttered has been shaping your world, whether spoken in ignorance or wisdom. This awakening represents a profound identity shift that changes everything. You recognize that your consciousness isn't just commentating on reality, it's generating it. The words that follow "I am" aren't descriptions. They're decrees that contain within them the seeds of their own fulfillment. The outer world of form is simply the shadow cast by the substance of your I am consciousness. Most people spend their lives chasing shadows, attempting to manipulate effects while ignoring the cause. They struggle to increase digits in accounts, acquire possessions, and attain status, never realizing that these are merely reflections of something far more precious, the creative power of their own divine identity. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by revealing the ultimate realization on this journey. You are not merely the recipient of wealth. You are the source itself. For as long as you perceive abundance as something separate from you, something that must be summoned from outside, you remain in the consciousness of lack. But the day you awaken to the truth that you are not drawing wealth to yourself, but declaring it from yourself, everything changes. This is the quantum leap in consciousness, where you cease to be the beggar and stand revealed as the giver, the fountain from which all supply flows. Remember the words, "I am the vine, ye are the branches." The vine doesn't look outside itself for nourishment. The sap flows from within, and the branches bear fruit only because they're connected to the source. You are not a branch broken and begging for water. You are the vine itself, the root of all supply. When this realization dawns, you no longer approach manifestation as something you do to get wealth. You recognize wealth as the natural expression of who you are. You don't need to manipulate or struggle or scheme. You simply declare from the center of your being, and it is so. This is not a technique. It's an awakening to your true nature as the source of all that appears in your experience. Have you glimpsed moments where you felt less like someone seeking abundance and more like the source from which abundance naturally flows? Type "I am" in the comments if you're beginning to recognize this profound truth about your essential nature. As we bring our time together to a close, I hope you felt that shift in consciousness. That moment when you recognize your true relationship with wealth isn't about chasing digits in an account, but embodying the creative power that you already are. This journey of transformation never truly ends. It only deepens as you continue to discover the divine potential within your I am. If you've resonated with these principles and want to continue exploring the power of consciousness to transform your financial reality, consider becoming part of our community by subscribing. Each week, we dive deep into these timeless truths, exploring how they apply to every dimension of your life, not just wealth, but relationships, purpose, and fulfillment. I'd love to know if this message found you at exactly the right moment in your journey. If something within you recognized these truths as something you've always known, but perhaps forgotten, type "divine timing" in the comments. Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to read today. If you found value in our exploration today, a simple like lets me know these teachings are resonating and helps others discover these principles that have transformed countless lives throughout history. There's a video right here that explores how to apply these same principles specifically to healing relationships. It's the perfect complement to what we've discussed today, as the same laws that govern financial abundance also create harmony in your connections. Click and join me there as we continue this journey of awakening together. Remember, you are not merely seeking abundance, you are abundance itself. The kingdom is not something distant to be attained. It is within you, waiting to be expressed.